Why does a show set hundreds of years ago feel more emotionally comforting than modern love stories? Why does Bridgerton feel like a warm emotional escape, even when the characters are in pain? Why do we feel calmer, safer, and strangely understood while watching people navigate strict social rules, silent longing, and slow-burning romance? And here's a question that might make you pause. Why does watching Bridgerton sometimes feel easier than dealing with our own lives? But most importantly, and this is the burning question we will answer at the very end, is Bridgerton healing us, or is it helping us avoid something we don't want to face? Stay until the end, because the answer might completely change how you watch romance, not just on screen, but in your own life. Bridgerton is not just a romantic period drama. It's a psychological experience. From the very first episode, your nervous system relaxes. The colors are soft. The music is familiar but transformed. The packing is slow. The emotional tension builds gently rather than explosively. And this is not accidental. Our brains are constantly overstimulated in modern life. Endless notifications, dating apps, ghosting, situationships, emotional unpredictability. Bridgerton offers the opposite. Clear rules, clear intention, clear consequences. Even when love is complicated, the structure feels safe. Psychologically, this matters more than we realize. Escapism vs. healing, the key difference. Escapism often gets a bad reputation. We're told escaping is unhealthy, that if we retreat into fiction, we're avoiding reality. But psychology tells a more nuanced story. There are two types of escapism. One that numbs, and one that regulates. Bridgerton falls into the second category. When real life feels heavy, emotionally chaotic, uncertain, overwhelming, our nervous system looks for safety. Not excitement, not intensity, safety. Bridgerton provides predictable emotional rhythms. Longing, restraint, emotional buildup, eventual resolution. This rhythm calms the nervous system. It's similar to why people rewatch the same shows again and again. The brain feels safe when it knows what's coming emotionally. Romantic fantasy as nervous system regulation. Let's talk about something rarely discussed. Romantic fantasy as self-soothing. When we watch Bridgerton, our body often reacts before our mind does. Slower breathing, relaxed shoulders, focused attention. Why? Because the show removes emotional chaos. Look at Season 3 characters like Penelope and Colin. Penelope's longing is quiet, consistent, and emotionally restrained. Colin's confusion is internal, not explosive. There's no ghosting, no mixed signals through texts, no sudden emotional disappearance. Everything unfolds slowly. For a nervous system tired of unpredictability, this feels deeply regulating. Modern dating activates anxiety. Period dramas reduce it. In Bridgerton, love is expressed through eye contact, pauses, presence, intentional conversations. There are fewer choices, fewer distractions. Psychologically, too many choices create anxiety. Modern dating is full of options, comparisons, and uncertainty. In Bridgerton, the limitations feel grounding. This is why Season 4 anticipation feels so intense. The audience already knows the emotional structure. The safety is pre-installed. Without spoilers, Season 4 continues a pattern Bridgerton does exceptionally well. Emotional containment. Characters are not emotionally reckless. They feel deeply, but express carefully. This mirrors something many viewers crave. Emotional intensity without emotional chaos. Psychologically, that's the ideal environment for emotional healing. Here, where it gets deeper. We don't just watch Bridgerton. We project onto it. Penelope's invisibility, reflects people who feel unseen. Colin's inner confusion mirrors identity searching. Season 4 characters reflect emotional restraint, duty, and suppressed desire. Our brain uses fiction as a mirror, not an escape hatch. That's why certain scenes feel personal, even when they're fictional. Now here's a critical psychological insight. The more comforting a fantasy feels, the more it may be pointing toward an unmet need. If Bridgerton feels safer than real relationships, it's not because fantasy is better. It's because safety is missing somewhere. And your nervous system is trying to remind you. The line between healing and avoidance. This is where escapism can quietly turn into avoidance. Not because you're weak, but because the brain chooses comfort over confrontation. Healing invites awareness. Avoidance keeps us numb. Bridgerton helps regulate emotions, but it cannot replace real emotional safety. And that's not a failure, that's information. Have you noticed the strange emotional drop after finishing an episode? That's not disappointment. That's nervous system contrast. Your body briefly experienced emotional coherence, then returned to unpredictability. The sadness isn't about the show ending. It's about what felt temporarily possible. Now let's return to the question we promised to answer. Is Bridgerton healing us or helping us avoid something? The answer is, it depends on what you do with the awareness it gives you. If Bridgerton helps you recognize your need for emotional safety, your longing for intentional love, your exhaustion from chaos, then it's healing. If it becomes a substitute for self-reflection, boundaries, or growth, then it quietly becomes avoidance. The show itself is neutral. Your relationship with it is what matters. Bridgerton isn't addictive because it's unrealistic. It's addictive because it shows us a version of love that feels emotionally regulated, intentional, and safe. And once your nervous system tastes that, even through fiction, it remembers. So the next time you press play, ask yourself, what part of me is being soothed right now? And what part of me is asking for that same care in real life? If this video helped you understand yourself a little more deeply, explore more psychology-based insights on untold psychology. Because sometimes the stories we escape into are quietly trying to guide us back to ourselves.